There you are. No musical buses in those days, but music of a finer kind. All aboard now for the Ran's Nest Bonafide, the Strawberry Beds, Shangana, Cabinteely and Killiney. 1 and 9 return fare. Coaches leave the Shelburne daily. Dinner included. I remember that well, on its way to the spring show, with polished harness and shining brasses, polished dial hoops to dazzle the sight of your eyes. Heaton's coal. Johnston, Mooney and O'Brien bought a horse for 1 and 9. An early morning start here at the dairy, the boys getting out the float. Here's Tom going to harness up the horse. Now we'll have her out in a second. And when he comes out, I want you to watch this operation. I hope the horse wasn't sleeping with the collar on. But you know, harnessing a horse is really a work of art. Now there's the hains going on. That's the tough part of the operation. In a minute the straddle will be thrown up over the back and the breeching adjusted. There we go now. You know, Paddy Kavanagh said one time that the wind down in Monaghan played a symphony of sweet music on a wire fence. Now I want you to listen for the symphony of sweet music as Tom leads this horse down a Dublin lane. Now the horse is having a few jars while Jerry Breheny is getting out the load. It's all teamwork here. On the job very early in the morning, bringing you your banya for your cornflakes and the chiseller's porridge. Now this operation will be all yup and hike as the horse and Jerry and Tom move around the road. Yup and hike. It'll be a long time before you can say yup and hike to your motor car. I hope your man won the pools or something. Now the horse is after spying that bit of grass over on the right. And watch this manoeuvre from the left over to the right. Well, you get your tea break, don't you? So isn't the horse entitled to his grass break? You look at the expert way that Jerry's handling them bottles. Now, if you or I tried to do that, there'd be glass smashing and milk spilling all over that road. But for these fellas, it's like a cup of tea or a drink of milk, as you might say. Tom is doing it for more years than he cares to remember. There's a good woman left out the empties. And there they go. But there's another road around the corner. But the people there get cornflakes and the chiselers get porridge too, you know. John Hardy is one of the few remaining blacksmiths in Dublin. Will you listen to that lovely music off the Cat's Head Hammer and the Anvil Beak? Oh, hold it a minute, here's a customer. Yes, it's Christy Doherty, bringing down his horse to buy him a new pair of shoes. Farriers are few and far between nowadays. same again. The hind leg first. No need for the nose pole on this horse. Sure, he's been here before. Knows the forge well. This isn't the first new pair of boots he got. John is getting the shoe ready now. They're ironing in the fire to turn the metal and make the shoe. Back down onto the beak of the anvil and back up onto the base. There's the punching for the pritchel to go in later to make the holes. Do you know, the sounds and the smells of a blacksmith forge have a magic all of their own. There's the old bellows getting a bit of a blow. That's the wonderful thing about a blacksmith's fire. It's never too glowy, so it won't burn the coal away too quick, and yet it never goes out. The old bellows keeps it at the right pitch. There's the clip being beaten into the shoe now with the side of the cat's head hammer. That's the secret of how the shoe is held on. See it coming up there. There's the pritchel going through now to complete the hole. Oh, sure, this is a work of art.
Just open the hole on the other side.
I think I'm due. For the shoes.
He's nearly a month shot.
Huh?
I said, he's over a month shot.
Really?
I told you, I think it got a bit long.
But I was down and you were out.
Ah, yes, I was out.
You were out in a car.
I had to go out and do a few...
That's how I called down.
No, I just sketched to be here.
Huh?
I just sketched to be in
Yeah.
here now.
It's not too bad.
No. It got a bit long in the front
Front ones, yeah. That's how they get the front ones done
It
first.
got a bit long.
I'd be afraid I'm stumbling.
No, but keep an eye to that off front shoe.
Yeah. It grows out very quick, that hoop, doesn't it? That hoop grows very quick.
Told the shoe long.
Does.
Are you busy or all busy?
Kept moving a small bit, only. Lucky.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, still alive.
Well, he come in here one day
Right.
and he says, have you any hoof, you Limerick man? I say, have you a dog at home? No, not at all, he says. So I believe the dogs are very fond of it. No, he says, I nearly died 1,000 deaths last night. What do you mean? He said, I was in bed, I suffered from the chest. I get a bit at the hoop on the saucer, lies at the side of the bed and inhale it.
Yeah, that's nice. That's right.
A bit of the witch doctor about that.
When we were kids, we used to smell tar barrels for the flu or the whooping cough. Into the quencher, cool it off, quenching bath.
Well, not too much, just a step. I'll just put his head to you. That'll do.
No need for the nose pole. She's no stranger. She knows she's getting a new pair of boots. Very proud of it too. The blacksmith's tools are kept in a special wooden box. There's the hoof paring knife, the pinchers, the raft, the cat's head hammer, the coal set, the hot set, the flatteners, the fullers, the swages. Sure, look at, and a range of tongs. And do you see them nails? Well, do you know what I saw recently? A fella outside the GPO making necklaces with them and selling them to the girls for a couple of £1 each. There's a businessman for you.
That'll do. Come on, this one. Come on.
Now, there's the clincher going into the clinching tongs to clinch off the ends of the nails. And, of course, they're rasped down. And in a minute, a drop of oil will be put over those hoops. You know, to let the old horse know he got a new pair of boots and to let everyone see that he has a new pair of boots. It's not a quick operation. You wouldn't have tried on the left foot shoe yourself in the time that job was done.
No.
There you are now. But let's shine. Another Dublin workhorse with a pair of new shoes for the cobblestones and Tarmacadden motorways. The fruit market and more Dublin workhorses. It's a lovely job now with motor car wheels. Some of these even have a spare wheel underneath. I don't see him with one though. Me jewel and darling, Moore Street, where every lady vendor is a queen and Rosie is the queen of queens. Dowell Street nearly speaks for itself. No shortage of fruit today, or vegetables, apples, tomatoes, bananas, onions, cauliflowers, parsnips, Brussels sprouts, mountains of them. There's the load coming off. Select tomatoes. Will you look where your man hung his coat? And there's a right load he has. I wonder what's in them boxes. Apples or tomatoes or something, under the counter. There'll be plenty over the counter as well. Pyramids of fruit. Stall upon stall. You're always sure of a bargain in Moore Street. Or as Jimmy O'Dea used to say, go down to Moore Street and get your nose educated. There's the collar getting a bit of a show, probably put on in haste this morning. That's why I said to you, it's an operation, a work of art to put on the harness. There's a twitches the old collar, and you might wear your clothes on a bit gammy, but a horse won't. Oh, there he is, he got a nice bit of cauliflower and cabbage there. Lashings of fruit today. Sure, it's the same every day. Moore Street is a wonderland no matter when you go down it. Except, of course, if you go down to a Sunday when there's nobody there and the street's deserted. Well, here's a man with no horse, but that thing's moving very fast.
Look, an apple. I'll take it out of the way anyway. Apple 6 for 20 pence.
10 £7 for tomatoes.
10 ahead the salad.
Apples, pears and oranges.
6 for 20 apple.
Apples, pears and oranges, 4 for 20.
That was a quick operation. Empty. In a matter of minutes. Mike Henry's coal yard in the heart of the Liberties. And a couple of bellmen loading up and a big lorry loading up there to make the suburban deliveries. The bellmen get their name from the time the horse used to carry a bell around his neck. And of course, every time the horse threw his neck up and down, the old bell rang out. And of course, the people in their houses knew it was the coalman when they heard the bell. But some of them have no bells, and those that had no bells always shouted. And of course, we as chiselers used to run after them, and we did our shouting too. Very few bellmen in Dublin today. Crossing Éire Street. Hey, give way to horse traffic there. That car should have stopped. Give way to horse traffic. Well, when we were kids, we used to say, what do you feed your mother on? Going up there to a customer. There's a fella now going to get a bucket full of it. Won't carry too much in that. Coal is still bought in stones in Dublin. With the weight, the scoop. A shovel and a bit will nearly finish this. Bit, another bit, another bit, another bit, another bit, and another bit, and another bit. Well, probably a tilly, that last lump. You know the way you used to get the tilly in the milk. And there's a bucket of coal to heat a Dublin family. For how long? A night? A weekend? Or maybe a week? And the bellman's off to scoop out more stones of coal. Or black diamonds, as we used to say. What do you feed your mother on? A Dublin mule. Oh, here's a load of scrap going up on the yoke. You look at that for character. He's looking around there, he knows the load started. Watch the ears twitching. He hears every sound in that street. Look, he notes something now. Oh, he saw her coming. Well, there's one woman won't be watching us tonight. Getting rid of the telly. It must be banjaxed. Talbot Place. You'd easy know it was a Friday. All the loads are coming into the scrapyard. I'd say that thing saw flush times. Here's another load. King James used to mint money coins out of this stuff up in Capel Street in 1689. But the scrap people today use it for other messes. And you look where your man's sitting. A grandstand view. There's a nice bit of brass work. And here's a couple of fellas giving the horse a rest. Onto the weighbridge. A few bobs worth in that. A few jars tonight. Jemison's of Bow Street and the Smithfield Haymarket, where all the countrymen came with their hay. You couldn't get down the street for hay and countrymen. There's John Cruer, the owner of Patterson's, the saddlers and harness makers in our King Street. And William Fitzpatrick. William was born a deaf mute, but he's a powerful pair of hands. He's making his own twine, as it was made in Dublin for the past 700 years. Now watch this, because you won't see this in a lifetime. Hooks it in through there, pulls it back to him. Wants to get the twist into it now. Coil over. Rubs it down off the leg to get the twist. Now, William must have made millions of miles of twine in his lifetime. And of course, you know, the man that makes his own thing has more faith in it. Now, he rubs in a bit of cobbler's wax here. That darkens the twine. It also binds the twine together. And of course, makes it waterproof. You know, the saddlers have a great tradition, dating back for centuries. It was in the year 1558 that the Common Council decided that the saddlers be given a special corporation of their own, a guild of their own, similar to the goldsmiths. And sure, why wouldn't they? The goldsmith might make the ring for the finger, but the saddler makes the ring for the horse's neck. There's William now, tapping out with a special type of mallet. That was him you saw at the beginning of the picture, stuffing wheat straw into the donkey's collar with a collar iron. Another bit is needed. Note the right amount, not too much, not too little. Bit of a twist. And the collar iron again. Bends it over and inserts it. Craftsmen to their fingertips. The half-moon knife cuts off the surplus straw. That's a special saddler's tool. The boss, John Cruitt, sewing on the leather caps. John finishes off the job. There's stitching. And a bit of trimming. The leather is kept in a bucket of water. It has to be kept in water to keep it flexible. That's the palm iron. It's used to push and pull the needle through the leather, through the collar. See it there now. A push operation and a pull operation. That's well sewed together there. I tell you, it won't come apart very easy. Another push and another pull. And the saddler knows that he's stitching with his own twine. That's the gauge knife, cutting the leather into strips. It also cuts out the reins and the fine thin parts of the harness, the breeching and parts like that, clipped off there at the end. Bit of a fold over, chop again, right size. Now the punch is in, punching in the holes. And this will now be inserted in the saddler's wooden vice. And the vice dates back beyond medieval times, back to the Romans. They used a similar type of wooden vice themselves. It's held between the knees. There's the buckle being sewn on. Wonderful tradition, the saddlers and harness makers. There's the final job. Oh, lucky donkey's going to get that around his neck. There's the ticking now. This is the very last act. The ticking for the inside of the collar. Look at that. For smoothness. Ticking measured on there. And horsehair is added to give it that cushiony feeling off the donkey's neck. Nice and comfortable. You know the way you like a nice collar sitting on yourself. You've no trouble with that one. A fine job, John. Here's Ginna, me old Segotia, on his way down North King Street to buy oats for the horses' supper. Well, Cullen's shop is the place, and there's the good woman, Mrs. Tannum, waiting on the customer. Here's the whiz box for the whiz oats for the supper.
Right.
Couple of scoops of oats, and note the scoop of bran to keep the horse's bowels in order. Guinness probably thinking now that he mustn't forget the butter. Has to buy a bit of butter, he said.
What's that be, Lana?
45p. Thank you. Well, I'll have to get you some change.
Oh, the horse is having a bit of hay. Of course, the old Smithfield Haymarket in North Kingsley, there's always a bit of hay stirring. No, Ginna didn't forget the butter. This is one of the last shops in Dublin that sell butter from a 56-pound block. And you know what they say, butter is the cream. Well, so too are Dublin's workhorses.